In Indonesia, President Joko Widodo personally observed vaccination activities in Central Jakarta. In Keelung, Tzu Chi volunteers conduct their first monthly visits of the solitary seniors, with children joining their parents with the visit. Selamat datang ke DaAi Headlines, saya Simon Gan. Terima kasih menyertai sesi berita kita. Recently, Indonesian President Joko Widodo personally observed vaccination activities in Central Jakarta and nearby shopping malls. He said that the laborers are the important pillar of economic development and social stability. With this being said, the government has prepared 16.9 million doses of COVID vaccine to give to workers across the country.
Accompanied by the Minister of Health Budi Gunadi Sadikin and Jakarta Governor Anies Baswedan, President Joko Widodo personally observed vaccination of laborers carried out at a mall in central Jakarta. This vaccination for market vendors is part of a large-scale vaccination plan, with the target of vaccinators being the basic public service population.
Kita memulai vaksinasi untuk
Let's vaccinate civil servants first. Now the government has prepared 16.9 million doses of COVID-19 vaccine, and it will begin to be administered throughout Indonesia.
Kalkulasi kami ada 16,9 juta yang nanti akan divaksin di seluruh Indonesia.
President Joko Widodo observed that the vaccination process proceeded well and hoped to attract more people to continue COVID vaccinations. He said that after the vaccination campaign in this mall is completed, the Ministry of Health will go to various places to further carry out vaccinations.
Tadi sudah kita lihat semuanya berjalan dengan baik, manajemen lapangannya sangat baik.
Just now, we have also observed the overall vaccination process. It can be said that it is running pretty well. I hope to include civil servants, security personnel, vegetable stall owners, reporters, athletes, and other market vendors to start vaccinations.
Atlet, juga pekerja-pekerja di toko dan mall, semuanya akan divaksinasi.
COVID vaccines are being rolled out in Indonesia, with the Jakarta Provincial Office inviting influential social leaders, religious figures, and government officials to the Jakarta City Hall to receive vaccinations. Take a look.
A vaccine promotion campaign has been started by the Jakarta Provincial Government. In the morning, 19 influential social leaders were invited to take the lead in receiving the vaccine. These individuals include the director of the Jakarta Health Bureau, the branch chairman of the Indonesian Confucian Council, the representative of the headquarters of the Jakarta Military District, and the Secretary General of the Indonesian Medical Association. The governor of Jakarta called on these individuals to become role models for society and to comply with pandemic prevention measures even if they have been vaccinated.
Bahwa di DKI itu kita pernah melakukan survei, dan dalam survei itu ada 3 unsur yang paling utama untuk didengar dalam soal COVID.
The Jakarta city government once did a survey, finding that there are 3 societal influences, so we invited them to come today, and I also want to emphasize again that although everyone has been vaccinated, they still have to comply with the pandemic prevention measures.
Protokol kesehatan walaupun sudah mendapatkan vaksin. Karena kita tahu dalam vaksin itu ada namanya efficacy. Jadi ketika
As everyone knows, if the vaccine efficacy is 65%, then the protection obtained is also 65%.
As one of the first to be selected in the first stage of vaccination, Liliani Lonto, the chairman of the Indonesian Confucian Council, believes that it can prevent the spread of COVID, as she appealed to the public not to be afraid of vaccination.
I want to invite everyone to get vaccinated. Don't be afraid of getting vaccinated. Only with vaccination can we break the chain of virus transmission. That's our hope. Let us support the national vaccination plan together.
On the same day, Yusri Yunus, the director of public relations for the Jakarta Police Department, was unable to get the vaccine due to symptoms of high blood pressure, so he must participate in the next round of vaccinations.
Kesehatan, baik itu tensi maupun juga riwayat-riwayat penyakit.
We must check the physical condition of those getting a vaccine. We look at their blood pressure and medical history because these are the rules regarding vaccinations. This is especially true for blood pressure, as normal blood pressure is 130/140 or 120/80. If it exceeds this, you can't get the vaccine.
Lagi 130/90 atau 120/80. Lewat dari situ memang ketentuan tidak boleh.
COVID vaccinations will be carried out across the country in different phases. The first phase involves medical staff, with the second phase being civil servants and people from disadvantaged families. And the third phase is for the general public, business people, and the elderly. Jakarta Health Bureau Director Widya Suti said that the vaccine currently used has obtained the Indonesian Food and Drug Administration emergency use permit and halal certification on January 11, 2021.
Vaksinasi akan diberikan kepada petugas pelayanan publik, yaitu TNI Polri, aparat hukum, petugas pelayanan publik lainnya seperti yang
Vaccinations are very important for military police, law enforcement personnel, airport, train and bank staff, as well as other civil servants. The elderly will follow, and the third stage is for the general public.
Usia lebih dari 60 tahun, lebih atau sama dengan 60 tahun. Tahap ketiga baru diberikan kepada kelompok masyarakat yang rentan aspek secara geospasial, sosial, dan ekonomi.
In the first phase of vaccination, the Jakarta Provincial Government will start with the goal of vaccinating some 7.6 million people.
Indonesian Tzu Chi volunteer Lali Mulyana joined Tzu Chi after seeing the joy of volunteers from the DaAi drama. During the pandemic, she has helped to pack and distribute supplies. She knows how to turn her worries into blessings, joining the ranks of volunteering diligently.
During the pandemic, everyone should reduce going out. But as long as Tzu Chi needs manpower, Liao Meilan does not want to be absent.
I'm grateful to have a healthy body during the pandemic so I can change my fear to self-confidence.
Because of watching the DaAi drama, she also expects to have a happy life like the main character in the soap opera. She started participating in Tzu Chi's activities in 2012 and became a Tzu Chi commissioner in 2019. When her mother passed away, the companionship of the Dharma families helped her get out of grief.
When my mother passed away, I felt sad and regretful. I shared my feelings when attending a reading group. A Tzu Chi sister told me not to think about what I could not do anymore, just think about how to practice filial piety.
Once the right direction is found, Liao Meilan is dedicated to do the right thing, leading a fruitful life.
Also in Indonesia, Tzu Chi volunteers have decreased their gatherings due to the pandemic. In addition to showing care for each other and organizing online meetings, one volunteer spent the time to grow plants and vegetables in her home, and she also made eco-enzyme to share with her neighbors.
5 years ago, I first heard about the eco-enzyme made by Tzu Chi and started trying to make it by myself. Back then, not many people knew about the eco-enzyme, but during the pandemic, we started to increase the promotion of the eco-enzyme, and more people have heard about it now.
With the eco-enzyme made over time, Susanna takes the opportunity to form good affinities with her neighbors, sharing the gift and the idea of environment protection.
You can use it to wash dishes, and the dishes won't feel greasy after washing. It can also be used to mop floors or as a hand sanitizers. You can even use it to water plants. It's a really useful tool which can be used on a wide variety of things.
Making contributions diligently is Susanna's way of life.
When plants start to grow, we have to nurture them patiently. The process of culturing plants is also cultivating our own patience. And when the plants are grown, we can also harvest them and use them as food.
Mother Nature is the best teacher. The more you pay attention, the more there is to learn.
73-year-old Grandma Zheng Meiyu has turned from being a parent to a school volunteer. She continues to clean up the fallen leaves at school after her child has graduated. Even though she has suffered a fall and needed rehabilitation, she still insists on treating the school as her own for more than 10 years.
The ground was full of the fallen leaves, and Grandma Meiyu caught it with bare hands and used it as a broom. The fallen leaves are full of the stink bugs, which doesn't affect the pace of the grandma's quick cleaning. The grandma gathered the fallen leaves on the campus and asked the cleaning team to transport them away.
When the leaves are put in the bags, they should be filled a little bit. If they are not filled, the recycling bag will need to be used a lot and the bags will be reused.
If it does not rain, the number of the leaves will only increase.
I do it slowly. I have been injured because of a fall. Otherwise, I will come to sweep them every day. People who are exercising will call me a madman, but I want to rehabilitate to get my body healthy.
There were 54 large bags filled with the leaves she cleaned under more than 500 trees, and the principal and students all sighed.
Without these grandmas reaping here, I can't imagine that, because she really brought 100 of them with one. Our 100 students might still lose her.
I'll feel bad. Grandma has worked so hard. Thank you for helping out at school every day.
Grandma is enthusiastic about cleaning. It will also help to make the school more tidy.
I'm already drenched, and I will catch a cold if I don't wear a windbreaker.
Wearing a windbreaker made of umbrella cloth, the Tzu Chi grandma will go to Tzu Chi recycling station next stop to continue her happy environmental journey.
In Keelung, volunteers visited the solitary seniors for the first time after the Lunar New Year. This time, the children of the volunteers join in on the visitation, bringing much care and joy towards the seniors. Take a look.
跟这些独老比起来，我真的很幸福。身体虽然不很好，但是我行动很方便。我的儿女虽然没有跟我住在一起，可是他们都会回来看我。
With the left eye almost blind due to cataracts and glaucoma, 76-year-old Zhang Meidui does not think it's a problem. As long as her daughter is by her side, there is no obstacle to do Tzu Chi work.
We always spend holidays doing the same things together, like dating. I think my mother loves to do Tzu Chi work. The only thing we can make her happy is to allow her to volunteer with Tzu Chi. I'll be worried about her if I don't stay with her.
This is Keelung district. This is the first time to care for solitary elderly in this year. The continuous spring rain does not hold back the volunteers, because many elders have been expecting this day for a long time.
For the seniors living alone, they don't normally have family members. So when we go caring about them, they'll feel very warm. There's an elder who keeps on chatting with us as long as we visit her. She will say, "I'm so happy to see you here." She will also share with us her inner feelings in every bit of her life.
In the caring team, most of the members are familiar to the elders. Yet a young man joins in this group. He is the son of Xiao Yuehui, a documenting volunteer. This time he takes the initiative to join, trying to understand what his mother is doing.
When we spread out kindness, what people give back is also kindness. For the first time to join the visit, I feel very good.
He said that in the future, if there are similar activities, he will come with me if he's free. I'm really happy to hear that. Nothing can express my happiness.
Although it's still cold in early spring, in this trip of visiting solitary elders, there is the inheritance of love, warming everyone's heart.
At the age of information, children began to interact with electronic devices, and the lack of company from their parents only worsened the situation. Due to this, Kunshan Tzu Chi volunteers initiated a book-giving event, inviting students and parents from Qianjing School to understand the goodness of reading.
Kunshan Tzu Chi volunteers promoted the idea of parent-child reading, hoping that children may develop a habit in reading.
Through this event, children may read books in their homes, and they can also exchange books back every month. After they read a book, they can share their thoughts, so we may guide them through the process.
At the information age, electronics have become a major part of children's lives. In order to let children regain the habit of holding a book, Tzu Chi volunteers initiated a book-giving event.
Tzu Chi is very close with Qianjing for nearly 10 years. Through their scholarship programs, they have spread the seeds of love amongst our students. This time, we hope to spread the love even further by this book-giving event.
能够让这个爱传播得更广。
我期待孩子的
I expect my children to become better at reading and writing.
有更深的上升空间吧。
Through this book reading method, we may allow children to understand being grateful and giving back, and in the future become the pillars of society.
Besides broadening children's horizon through reading, this event also enhances parent-child interaction. This may also be the best gift that parents give to children in their lives.
Tzu Chi University recently held an African cultural experience event, inviting students from Mozambique and South Africa to prepare local cuisines while introducing single braids and traditional clothing to event attendees. Here's more.
Vegetables can be seen inside deep-fried foods. These are traditional cuisines from Mozambique.
It's called chamusa and it's from Mozambique. If there are parties during New Year or on special occasions, we'll make this.
As traditional foods are being cooked at the venue, even outsiders come in to get a quick bite, enjoying the crispiness.
It's delicious and special. It's like hash browns but more detailed. It doesn't taste like parts but more mashed.
Braids are an African favorite. At the event, students line up to get their hairs braided.
I'm very excited to experience this culture in Taiwan and to be able to feel being abroad, even receiving braids from an African student.
We also invited students from Africa to demonstrate their traditional clothing. Students may also feel the culture through the event. As local students interact with foreign students, they are actually learning from each other's culture.
A series of interesting activities are prepared sincerely by students from South Africa and Mozambique. As the event concluded, many felt the African passion.
In Malacca, Tzu Chi volunteers went to a shopping mall to promote vegetarianism, to strengthen the public's awareness on animal husbandry, and to speed up the pace of saving the planet. Take a look.
Play bingo games with fruits and vegetables to challenge the public's response and encourage them to eat more vegetables.
Food a day of fish, 3,000 tons are edible.
To promote vegetarianism, Tzu Chi Malacca chapter cooperated with a shopping mall to host an event to encourage people to eat less meat and more vegetables.
The world is getting hotter and hotter, and there are more and more diseases. So we host this event to tell everyone to change their diet so that in the future our children will have a better place, a better earth to live.
From forest fires to rescue animals to cutting down trees to eat meat and to the influence of animal husbandry, both adults and children learn more about the hazards of eating meat to the earth through a series of games.
If you eat the vegetarian, you active your body. That's right. I have feelings that are making nice. Maybe next year, starting the vegetarian food.
They have a lot of benefit, not only for our health, but also to our environment. I appreciate because this event encourage us to eat more, consume more vegetable, and then acknowledge everyone how important everyone have to take care our planet.
Just like the two big characters on the backboard of the youth, the future of the earth needs to change, and such changes should start from the desire of you and me.
Have you ever wondered where the musical box originated from? In the past, this tiny musical box was once as large as a standard house. Follow a report as we learn more about the musical box history.
The hand-sized musical boxes produce melodic sounds, but in the past, musical boxes occupied the roofs of churches. Musical boxes originating from Europe started from medieval times, and they can be located in clock towers, serving the purpose of telling time. In the early phases of musical boxes, Manual labor is required to strike different sounding bells, the earliest form of musical boxes nowadays. At the time, there are no televisions or radios, as the earliest form of listening to music found its way in clock towers.
This is a simple musical box containing 18 notes. This is also called the movement. Normally, speaking 95 out of 100 musical boxes use a cylinder, relying on the spots on the cylinder to trigger the combs below.
A musical box's movements contains a comb, cylinder, and a spring housing. The cylinders are pre-mapped staff, and as it spins, combs would interact with spots on a cylinder. The comb sets the pitch while the lever sets the tempo.
The tempo is closely interconnected with the cylinder. The tempo also changes the locations depending on the song. At a different location, the cylinder produces a different tempo.
Every song has to be with a certain comb and cylinder, as notes will be tuned to suit it perfectly. But if the same parts were to be used on a different song, the sounds would be off. The question follows, how do we determine the pitches of the notes?
What she's doing now requires hand-eye coordination. Every note has to be carefully tuned to find the right pitch. Now we're seeing this piece of comb. The shorter ones produce a higher pitch, while the longer ones produce a lower pitch.
Therefore, every song requires a unique comb and cylinder. Another type of musical box uses a disc. Through rotations, the spots on the disc trigger combs, generating sound. The different disc produces a different song.
The sound made by the musical boxes are very minimal, so you must install it within a container. Like now, we installed it in a wooden box. After flipping the switch, we can hear the music. If I take it out, just the machinery only produces very minimal sound.
Traditional musical boxes, depending on the size of the cylinder, generate sound off rotations, as this method only can be used to capture parts of the song, and is also dependent on the lever. Even with creativity, Japanese musical boxes are capped at 300 songs. But now with AI and IC chips, there's no longer a capacity limit for musical boxes.
Using digital musical boxes, we're able to play infinite amount of songs. Since it combines with a phone app, it collects songs from the cloud. With a simple command, it can play any song on demand.
As technology advances over time, musical boxes evolved along the way, but what never changed is the moving moments and pleasant sounds that musical boxes brought to our ears.
The National Center of Photography and Images in Taipei is having an exhibition on the early history of photography in Taiwan. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you and see you next time.